Mic check, it's time for in the trenches. Bucs battles, tales from the benches. No fluff, straight edge defenses. Buccaneer talk, breaking down the fences.
We want to thank our sponsor, Manny and Gordon. I've been good friends with Jack Gordon for a long time, and as far as lawyers go, he's the best at it. Manny and Gordon, fightnegligence.com. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to In the Trenches. And it wasn't a lot of fun watching that football game last night. The Buccaneers didn't show up, and Buccaneers are now 4-3, and it doesn't look quite as rosy as it did. At 4-2, you figure out a way to beat the Ravens, and you're in the driver's seat, and you can write a bunch of narratives. But just to lose the game is one thing, but to lose the game in the manner that they did, not only getting beat down like they did, is to lose two of your spiritual leaders in Chris Godwin and also Mike Evans. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, to lose, I'm not sure they didn't have the best 1-2 tandem wide receivers in the whole league. Now what do they have? And let me touch a little bit on these injuries, because I'm listening to sports radio, and everybody's has their own opinion. My opinion is based on what I did for 9 years, was playing the NFL for 9 years and go to 11 training camps, and I was injured throughout my whole career, all right? Nobody was more injured than me. I stayed injured. Let me give you some facts about injuries, okay? Let's first and foremost talk about the Mike Evans injury. Mike Evans on the first touchdown got up, was limping. It looked like he tweaked his ankle or something. Mike Evans throughout his whole career has limped. He's limped his whole career. Like, he never looks like he can finish the game, and he always finishes the game. On a touchdown, he hurt his leg and he limped off the field. And at that point, now I'm hearing people say that, you have to protect Mike from himself. You can't protect Mike from himself, okay? Regardless what the coach thinks, what the trainer thinks, it's up to the football player. There's never been a situation where the football player said, I can play, and the owner and the trainer said, no, you can't play. Never. If I say, I'm ready to go, I can go. The trainer can't go against me. And if the coach says, Ian, can you go? And I say yes, I'm playing. Period. So to think that an organization is ever going to take a player out of the game because they want to has never happened in the history of football. It's never happened. So to think that the Buccaneers could have saved Mike from himself is ludicrous, okay? Because Mike got up from everything else except for this one. Mike never misses games. He's going to miss games here, so this is an anomaly. You don't know he's going to tear his hamstring. You don't know that. So I just think that narrative is wrong, period. Now, let's go to Chris Godwin. We have to stop doing this, people. Why is he in the game? Because he's a Buccaneer and he's trying to win. That's the answer. With 50 seconds left and you're down by 10 points, you haven't lost the game yet. How many situations have there been in the NFL where somebody's come back from 10 points with 50 seconds left? I don't know the number, but it's a few. The game is not over. So I hate when people say, why is he in the game? He's in the game because he gives you the best chance to win. That being said, I don't remember a more sad situation than seeing Chris Godwin on the field, knowing that you probably weren't going to win the game, and knowing what he meant to the team. I mean, Chris Godwin was leading the NFL in YAC, yards after catch. That's quite a relevant statistic. So the Buccaneers are going to lose a great football player, a great person, a great leader, and he's done for the season. From what I hear, Mike Evans is done till probably week 11 at least. He's not young now. If you're young and you pull a hamstring, you come back in a couple weeks. When you're old and you tear a hamstring, I'm not sure Mike Evans is ever going to be the same again. It's unfortunate, but that's the way the body works. Now, let's get back to the game itself. The Buccaneers didn't play well anywhere yesterday. The Buccaneers defense is not good. We have to stop acting like they are good, because they're not good. It didn't start off poorly. It started off, Liam Cohen did a great job in the first drive, a couple good play calls on 4th and 1 with the reverse. Obviously it ended up with Mike Evans in the end zone, wide ass open. It was awkward the way he caught the ball. It looked like he hurt himself in that situation, but You kind of like the way the game was progressing at that time. The Bucs up 10-0, and I bet you said after that touchdown, man, that Mike Evans is a warrior. So warriors don't take themselves out of games, and warriors don't leave games ever. So the game started off great. At that time, I remember sitting here and saying, bragging on Baker Mayfield and saying how well his improvisational skills are. I don't know if he's doesn't improvise better than almost anybody in the league. Obviously not better than Lamar and Patrick Mahomes, but he's up in the upper echelon of improvisers in the NFL as far as quarterbacks go. And I was bragging on him. And then the other Baker Mayfield showed up. Listen, last week in a win, Baker had 3 interceptions. You don't win many games you throw 3 interceptions. And this game, a couple of those interceptions, were inexcusable, to be honest with you. The one in the end zone, at that moment, you don't make that throw. Both of his interceptions, the early ones, were you can't explain them. And the Ravens left a couple interceptions out there too. And I don't mean, jumping, I mean balls right in dude's hands. So, that statement I said our defense ain't good, Baker's not playing well. You go back 2 games ago, Baker was playing as well as anybody in the NFL, and it ain't happening today. So it was good to see Luke Gedeke back with his kazoo helmet on. I think they call it Guardian cap. It looks funny, but if it's going to help you and gives you some confidence, it's all good. Luke Gedeke has turned himself into a pretty darn good football player, and we're better with him on the football field. So it was good to see him out there. Tristan Wirfs got a holding penalty. Why is that news? Because it's news. He hadn't had one since 22. I didn't get a lot of holding penalties in my career. I got more than one every 3 years. But there was 2 holding penalties in that game that negated touchdowns that I thought were 2 of the worst holding penalties I've ever seen in my career. There was so many flags on that field last night. It ruined the game for me. Every big play was a flag. Every other play, there's 2 flags. There's 2 penalties. They're ruining the game, man. They're ruining the game to me. There was a lot of flags. There was a lot of whistles. There was a lot of stop play. And we don't want football to end up like baseball. We don't want that to be the situation. So, it was good to see Gedeke out there. And football is in a funny situation. The Bucs were 8th in rushing going into that game. So we talked about the mentality of rushing the football. They were getting there. It didn't look great yesterday. Obviously, the way the game unfolded, it wasn't conducive to a running game. But the Buccaneers have gotten to the point where I think they believe that they can rush the ball. 8th is amazing. And we have 3 running backs that are all worthy of touches. But to me, it comes down to the offensive line. It ain't about the running backs for me. I always believe it in the offensive line. If Kate Otton's your hottest target, you're not going to win many games. And I'm not talking down Kate Otten, but he's like a lunchbox tight end. You ain't going to win a lot of games where Kate Otton's getting 10 targets. You're just not. But the unfortunate part is Kate Otton's going to get a lot more targets coming up. So I don't know where firepower is going to come from. You think you better put it on the offensive line? This Buccaneer team better figure out how to run football right now, and they better learn how to play some damn defense right now, because defensively, we're not a good football team. I don't know any way to say it. Vita Vea, he's a roller coaster to me. He was invisible yesterday. He was hurt because he had a hamstring. He's always hurt. Being hurt and not playing well because you're hurt is not an excuse to not play well. It's unfortunate because whatever film you put out there, that's your film. So this hammy thing, and it seems like it's one thing or another, but Vita Vea is not omnipresent, okay? And that's a problem. Now, going in against the Ravens, I didn't think the Buccaneers matched up well against the Ravens. I don't think anybody really matched up well against the Ravens for Derrick Henry and obviously Lamar Jackson. Before the game, here's a statistic. Before the game, Lamar Jackson was 22-1 against the NFC. And I had money on the Buccaneers. Smart me. So, watching that game defensively, if I didn't tell you that JTS, Joe Tryon-Schwanka, played, you wouldn't know. I'm to the point now where, and unfortunately for him, I watch him a lot. Other than him just not being a good football player, he's soft as baby shit. And you can not be a good football player, but still be a tough SOB. I don't see none of it, dude. I don't know why they put him out there. I'll be honest with you. And this is not a personal thing. I've never met him. Yaya Diaby just showed up. I like the way that kid plays. I like the way everybody plays on the defense except for JTS. Drives me nuts. You can't jump around more blocks and be more unphysical than JTS. Watch him. I've never heard anybody really say, Ian, you're wrong about JTS, because I'm not. I know line play. I know the in the trenches play. And he ain't the in the trenches guy. I don't like him to be on my defense. That's the long and short of it. Like Shaq Barrett was on that position. You know what I mean? I mean, that was a difference maker. What difference has JTS made? He has 14 sacks in 4 years. 14 sacks in 4 years? That's a rusher? I'm to the point where I don't get it anymore. I don't understand what he's doing. I don't understand why he's out there. It's unfortunate. If you ask me if we're talented at the DBs, I don't know, because guys were so wide open. I don't know. I don't know if it was. I know the Andrews, Whitehead used them on one of the touchdowns. That happens. But can guys be more wide open than they were last night? Andrews was wide open everywhere. Bateman's wide ass open, broken coverages. You're seeing guys standing in the middle of the football field, standing there all by their damn self. You're not gonna win many football games that way. You're just not. McCollum seems to get lost in translation half the time. I don't know if he knows he's going man or coverage. I don't know what he's doing. But he seems to be trailing a lot of plays. And the 81-yard Derrick Henry run, everybody's praising Derrick Henry. He didn't break no tackles. He just went forward, cut, and went straight up the sideline for 81 yards. Any of the Bucs running backs could have done that. He didn't get touched until McCollum tackled him on the 10 or whatever. That's offensive line play, dude. He didn't get touched. That's, I don't know. Defensively, the Buccaneers, and without Mike Evans and without Chris Godwin, you think we're going to have to lean less on our defense? I don't know from here if it's gonna look good from here. I'm not sure. I try to be a realist and not an optimist or a pessimist. Realistically, with the Falcons and the Chiefs and the Niners coming up, you lose a Falcons game, your season's over. More than likely, because it doesn't get any easier going forward. And you don't have to be a specialist in football to know that the Buccaneers defense is playing like crap and that Baker Mayfield isn't playing well. So if the defense is playing like crap and your quarterback's not playing well, you're not going to win many more games. Okay, so that's where we are as Buccaneer fans. So let's hope it gets better, but guys, it doesn't look good right now. Don't blame the coaches for injuries. That's not why it happens. It's football. I just saw the Godwin injury, and it's hideous. Trust me. And it's part of football. It's the unfortunate part. But now it's next man up, as they always say. Buccaneers are 4-3. I'm not sure it goes uphill from here, but let's hope for the best. Still remember, we're on the back end of a couple of these storms, and support all your small companies here in the Tampa Bay area. We're here at a Dignitary Cafe getting things back together. 4817 Southwest Shore Boulevard. Come hang out with us, have a good time, and support your small businesses, please. Everybody be safe. Peace out.
Learn from the vets, been there, done that. Breaking down the game, facts on facts.
Some law firms, they try to sell you on how big they are. But wouldn't you prefer to know how qualified and experienced and credentialed their lawyers are?
Call Manny and Gordon or visit us at fightnegligence.com.